chance for you to ask your questions. For details, head to abc.net.au/Canberra.
It's 11:05. You're on 666, Alex Sloan with you, and so is Caroline Salisbury in Riding Pink.
That's me.
The
Not riding
Queen's
horse pink.
left. Did you?
I know.
It's
I couldn't ride a
gorgeous
horse.
red
If you
jacket.
it is a lovely red jacket. Thank you.
You look lovely.
Doesn't make me a rider of horses.
Did you watch QI last night? It was all about horses.
No, but I do
It's
love
quite
it.
fun.
Yeah. I think I was probably busy doing something else.
Oh. Reading a horse book.
You're reading a horse book.
Caroline, of course, is a well-known dietitian and has joined us here on 666 Mornings for many years. Before me, really.
I feel old now, thanks.
Yeah. Before we were talking to the delightful Alan Foskett about Canberra's post-war pubs, which may be a beautiful segue now to this spot, because you're talking about belly busting.
Well, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because even though men probably drank quite a lot at times, like, you know, before closing time and all that sort of thing, I was watching that ABC program on cars, whatever that is.
Yes,
that new
on
one.
Sunday night.
And they had some
Wide Open Road.
Yes, and they had photos of the 1920s, and men were so lean. Just so lean. I thought,
They were living
my
off the
God.
land. They were chasing rabbits.
I know. They were hunter-gatherers. You can't actually find guys like that anymore. You really can't. Most men are well covered, but hopefully less so after this.
Right. So that's the focus today.
The focus
We're
is to
picking
get
on
our
the
men
blokes.
leaner. And because the other thing is, when you get heavier, your testosterone level goes down.
Oh.
Yes, I know. And that affects lots of health issues. It affects your heart disease risk. It's a big, strong link to diabetes, but it also affects other issues of your life.
So you do need a lean, mean working machine.
You
when
need
it
a
comes to your
lean,
bloke.
mean working machine.
Okay.
Yep. So remember that, girls.
Caroline Salisbury's with us this morning. Now, we love your calls, 1300 681 666, and the SMS number is 0467 922 666. And you can send your tweets via Twitter and comments on Facebook and email directly, 666mornings@your.abc.net.au. Now, we've got special guest,
We have.
Nicole Senior. Are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Hi, Nicole.
And I'm joined by Marty Dennison, our champion belly
A
buster.
lean, mean working machine.
That's it.
Well done, Marty.
Thank you.
So, Nicole, how did men become your focus? I can understand why, but how did it start?
Well, look, it is a very common problem in blokes. We know that 2/3 of blokes are above what I call their fighting weight, and the problem gets worse as they get older. In fact, only 1 in 4 blokes over 55 is in the healthy weight range. So, you know, it is a common problem. But the reason why I got into it was that there's not a lot out there for blokes. I mean, we women, we can't walk 2 steps without tripping over some food and nutrition and dietary advice, but for blokes there's not much out there.
But don't the same, from CSIRO, whatever books, don't they just apply to both of us?
Well, you'd think
Men
so,
and
but
women?
I do think blokes are special in a good
No doubt
way.
about that.
I think with women, there's a lot more kind of emotional stuff around food, whereas blokes, I think you can be a bit more direct, and also I think blokes are a bit behind the 8 ball because their food and nutrition knowledge isn't as good as ours. We seem to sort of absorb it by osmosis, we women, but blokes, they're not quite up to the same speed in terms of their knowledge and also skills.
Not reading the same magazines, Nicole?
Yes.
That's probably good. But I find the great thing about guys is that when they approach weight loss, they do it in a pretty practical kind of way. So it's a bit like a car manual, really.
Yep,
They
that's
kind of
it.
follow the instructions, and if it stuffs up one day, they don't worry, they just walk away and go, okay, yeah, never mind, mate. But women tend to be much more emotional about food and much more emotional about failure, whereas guys tend to kind of roll with it. Do you find?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think blokes too, they just want to, you just tell them what to do and they generally get on with it. So you can be a bit more direct.
Well, let's bring the bloke in. Marty,
Yes,
you're speaking
yes.
for your whole gender this morning.
Sure.
The world
Okay.
rests on your shoulders.
No pressure.
No, Marty, we're very friendly. Now, tell us your story.
Sure. I guess I Oh, well, it's interesting. I guess what you were sort of saying about, you know, women and the magazines and so on, I've sort of always related dieting as a girl's thing. And despite all the men's fitness magazines and so on, you know, when you think of some of the other magazines and so on, it hasn't really felt directed to men. But I'm in my 40s and I've started, you know, putting on weight, and it came to a point where I thought, gee, I'm really overweight. And I took a before photo, but not really knowing what to do. And my doctors, you know, were concerned, and yeah, certainly some issues there, and certainly my bloods were out in a number of ways, and so it was a bit of a concern.
So you're getting kind of, you know, messages about cholesterol and that sort of stuff, Marty? Not wanting to delve into your
cholesterol, my liver, fatty liver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a whole range of things. So certainly a concern. My wife is a nurse, and so she saw things in me. She said, look, you really got to get this checked out. And so when the doctors say, well, you know, you need to lose weight, that's nice, but they don't really tell you how. So when you're talking about the CAR manual, that's precisely right. You know, if you just tell us, and, you know, we would follow those steps. And so I found the instructions in the book to be quite simple. It's really well written for men, and you know, you could even just go through it a page at a time and just learn so much. But yeah, I guess.
And Marty, when you say you didn't really know how to do it, I mean, I mentioned the CSRO one, or, you know,
Sure.
there's so many, I suppose, different approaches. You didn't think, oh, I'll just, you know.
Yeah, look, I find that. For me personally, I'm not necessarily speaking about all men, but I found that confusing.
Okay.
And I guess too, I was confronted with a number of myths that I had in my mind, but when they say, you know, lose weight, I go, okay, well, I'm exercising, and so the first thing you think to do is exercise, but I found it wasn't losing weight, and things weren't getting better just by exercising. So I sort of found through the book that really the key is to lose weight is about what you're eating, and I found personally I lost about 30+ kilos.
Wow.
And
Well done, Marty.
yeah, thank you. But I found that as I lost weight, I literally became lighter, and as I became lighter, then there was a desire to exercise, to do things, which took me by surprise. You know, like the emphasis for me wasn't so much on the exercise to lose the weight, but once I lost the weight, I remember walking with my wife, and we were just about to, you know, go up a steep hill, and I said to her, you know, I feel I could run to the top of that hill. She said, well, go on then. So I ran to the top of that hill and waited for her to arrive, and she just walked, and she was puffing, and I wasn't. And then there was another day we were...
Do you want me to play the Rocky music now, Marty? It's
Getting
great.
there, getting there.
No, congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, and then another day we were at Lane Cove River Park with a friend, and my wife and her were talking, and I was with the kids. The kids were on their scooter, and thought I might run up to that corner. So I ran up to this corner, but I kept going. So it was more like Forrest Gump. And I ran right up to the other end of Lane Cove River Park, which I couldn't believe, and then ran back. And, you know, sure, I was red in the face, but I just felt I could keep going. And I drove the distance and found that was 8 kilometres.
Wow.
And I thought, well, there's the City to Surf. The City to Surf is 14 kilometres, which is not much further. And so I challenged my 11-year-old son to train with me, and so we both did that run together as well. And look, even since high school, I just thought that's nothing I would ever want to do, but we did it, and Heartbreak Hill wasn't an issue. And it was just a great experience.
Oh, Marty, what an
achievement for me.
amazing feeling that must have been.
Yeah, so that was really great.
I did it.
Also to lose, you know, or have to suddenly have a problem of your clothes being too big, that was an amazing thing to experience as well. And, you know, I've got a belt on, I can't show you, but it's just got so many extra holes in it now, and it's wonderful. So, and another positive thing too is, you know, a lot of my friends have seen the difference. Some friends said to me, they called me the Incredible Shrinking Man, and I guess I didn't want to tell them I was on a diet in case I failed. So I was sort of private about it. But yeah, people just kept noticing all of a sudden. And so as people were asking questions, particularly other men, I was able to share with them the book, and sometimes I'd give them a copy of the book. And some of those guys are losing weight themselves. There's one guy I was talking to just on the weekend who, last Friday, actually, he didn't weigh himself at the start, but now his weight's gone down so far that he's lost about 4 inches around his belt, so he's had to drill in a hole. And he said, look, I don't mean to show off, but look at this. And he was telling me about his family and how happy they were. And another friend said, you know, since we talked, probably just a week or two ago, he says, I've already lost about 3 kilos.
That's fantastic.
So he said, you're my inspiration. So that's nice, you know.
So, Nicole, tell us what the 5 steps are. You've got some really simple, because guys seem to be better if they just get the basic rules and then they can work towards those. So what do they start? How did Marty start with his quality fuel?
Well, one of the things that we did about the book, just before I go to the 5 steps, is that we think blokes don't like reading instructions. So we put all the stuff they needed to do at the front and then all the reasons why at the back, which we thought was a very blokey way of going about it. So they knew what to do, and if they were interested in finding out why, they went to the back. But yeah, the 5 steps. The first one is to choose top quality fuel, and we've used this kind of treat your body as a car sort of analogy all the way through the book, which is kind of makes it a bit more fun to read. But yeah, it's all about focusing on quality food. I think a lot of diets talk about don't eat this and don't eat that, and whereas we're focusing on what you should be eating and what your body needs to be the best it can be. The second step is don't overfill your tank, but if you do, go easy on food the next day. And we know how easy it is to just overdo it from time to time, whether it's festive eating or whatever. But blokes need to learn to compensate, you know, if they do eat a little bit more than they need to. The third step is get your fuel mix right, and this is where we try to tell blokes, look, it's not about low fat or low carb or whatever. It's all about getting a balance, because your body needs all of those different food groups to function well. So we also utilised the power of protein and low GI carbs in the general approach to the book, which we know is really good for satisfying appetite. One of the big hurdles guys have when losing weight and busting their belly is hunger. So we needed to use those hunger busting strategies in the diet, in the food advice.
Marty, just to go through the steps. Yep. Marty, what was your great hunger buster when you got hungry?
Sure. Well, it's just interesting what Nicole was just saying about low GI, high protein and things. But for me, I'm really glad that I could enjoy, first of all, a breakfast, and that breakfast might be seeded toast, because I've got friends who think that bread is bad for you, but, you know, seeded toast with egg on it. And, you know, I can eat that, feel full and satisfied, and think, even sense guilt for having it.
And what did you grab when you were feeling hungry?
Sure. For me, I did things like, okay, if I was feeling hungry and if I smelt, you know, roast chicken or something in the shops, I'd think, okay, I'm hungry. I could easily go and buy that, but what I might do is just drink a bottle of water first and see if I can still have to go and get that chicken. So, and I found that sort of, sure, I might have still been a little bit hungry, but the desire wasn't as strong. Sometimes I would just chew gum as well.
Okay, and what would you snack on, Marty? Are you a fruit eater? Because a lot of men don't know what fruit is, let alone consume it.
Sure. Yeah, sometimes I'd chew on nuts and found that really enjoyable. And, yeah, a bit of fruit like bananas and so on. So, yeah.
And one of the things that I remember sharing with Marty is about fruit juices and how they have such a health halo for blokes. And they think, oh, if I don't have cola, I'll have juice instead, and think they're doing a fabulous thing. But the kilojoules are the same. So, you know, it's these kind of insights about kilojoules, and whether you want to call them kilojoules, calories, or whether you have your own word, it's how much is in food and its potential to push you over your limit.
Nicole, I stopped you in your steps. Was there any that
Yeah, I think I was up to number 4, Alex. So number 4 is put some miles on your clock. Blokes have got to move. We are all made to move. End of story. You just got to make it happen. However, and some blokes, it works if they get up early and go for a little bit of a walk or a jog before work. Other blokes, they do something at lunchtime. Others do it when they get home. It's lots of fun to join a sporting team. Then you have to turn up and you don't want to let down your mates. There's lots of different ways, but blokes have to move more. There is absolutely no way around it.
And Marty doing that challenge with his son, the City to Surf, that's just a great example, Marty.
Yeah.
And of course, we're closer because of it, I suppose.
Because guys can be quite competitive, can't they? Which can be an advantage, can't it, Nicole, in terms of competitions and
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that, as Marty was talking, that occurred to me is that a lot of blokes, I think, are pretty unhappy about having a big belly, but they don't talk about it. And I think blokes like Marty are an example to their peers, and it really opens the door to have that conversation. It's okay to admit that there's a problem, and blokes can help each other.
I've got a text from Chris saying, "Did your guest cook his own meals?"
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Look, my wife is a fantastic cook, and she's of European descent, and is probably part of the reason I was overweight, because I really enjoy her meals. But she also cooks me great stuff as well. Soups and so on, which are really healthy, and so she's really great that way as well. So for me, being a bloke, it's really tempting just to go to a shop and buy something, or just to grab a packet of chips or something like that. But I did. I started to cook some things for myself, like I was saying, just simple things like eggs on toast, and just other simple meals like that as well. But
it's one thing that we really focused on in this book is to actually help blokes to conquer the kitchen, because I think that it's really important that blokes need to be able to feed themselves. The more they outsource their food to cafes and fast food joints, the worse their health is going to be. So we need to bring them up to speed with skills of just basic food prep. So in Belly Busting for Blokes, we've got really simple recipes with clear instructions, and actually Marty was an absolute star because he's actually demonstrated a couple of the recipes, and we've popped it on YouTube. So you can actually go to bellybusting.com.au and watch him prepare some recipes.
Yeah, and also too, I think for guys, guys are typically good with the barbecue, but certainly,
that's the hunter-gatherer background.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so I guess they need to masculinise the kitchen.
and how did you get your meat served down, Marty? Was that a struggle?
My meat serve?
Yeah.
Going for 100 grams?
Yeah, going for like a smaller serve of meat. Was that something that you overconsumed because of the whole caveman thing?
Well, as Nicole said, there's sometimes where you'd eat a lot and you'd have to compensate.
Nice answer, Marty. But I think it's important that we acknowledge that, blokes can eat meat in a balanced meal. It just needs to be balanced. I think for a long time, blokes have had a massive slab of steak with a few token little bits of veg on the side. That's not the right way to eat to keep your man frame in shape. It's about having a balance. So you've got to have the meat, you've got to have the vegetables, and you've got to have those grains.
So one of the other tips that you've got is for guys to put their brain in gear, really.
Yeah.
To just start thinking.
That's right. And this is about motivation. This is about why are you doing it? There are great reasons to bust your belly, and it's about your health and your longevity, but it's also about your energy. I mean, Marty he's a transformed man. I mean, gosh, going to do the City to Surf, that's incredible. And he can definitely keep up with his kids.
What about,
great.
I was talking about pubs after 10 this morning. What about the old, beer gut?
Yeah. Look, I think for some blokes, beer is an issue, and it's part of why their belly's big. But for other blokes, not so much. I mean, in Marty's case, for example, Marty, you weren't a big drinker, were you?
No, I did drink a lot as a young person, and and I probably stopped drinking when a lot of people start, and that was probably leading to problems with my liver from an early age. But for me, yes, I put on weight despite not drinking as an adult, and so I guess I can really see
that wasn't part of your problem in terms of your weight, in terms of giving up.
and so I can really see in our culture, and I guess largely because of that in my life, that the food or the culture that we've got for ourselves as men, it's quite dangerous with what we're eating, the types of food we're putting in, the amounts, and where we're getting it from.
And let's be honest, Marty, a lot of blokes drink too much and they have no clue of just how fattening what they're drinking is.
Yeah.
And that can include full cream flavoured milks, can't it too, which is a favourite that you see men wandering around with.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, all these shops that do these, massive servings of milk drinks that are flavoured and sugared and maybe with a bit of cream on top. I mean, I don't think people realise just how many kilojoules you can actually drink. And it doesn't really kind of fill the same hole as meals and solid food. So drinks are an issue for a lot of blokes. But I mean, alcohol is one thing that it's obviously lots of fun, but for many blokes they've just got to cut it back because they're going way overboard.
Yeah.
I've got a text saying I'd love to lose weight, but I have a number of food allergies that make most diets impossible. Celiac disease, allergies to dairy and eggs and others. Any suggestions? And to put it another way, I'm doing a lot of things described in the book, but the weight is not going down.
Well, you need to go see Caroline.
Yeah, you need to go and see a dietitian. Because it needs to be personalised. And some of those exclusion diets can actually be quite energy dense, because when you take out some groups, the fat content and the added sugar in foods can actually increase. So really personalised, and some of those tricks around appetite control are really important.
Now, we've got Sharon on the line. Hello, Sharon.
Hi, how you going?
You like the car approach, do you, Sharon?
Yeah, and I was just wondering, I mean, the diet's for blokes, but can women follow the same diet and get the same success as men?
You sure can.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's so interesting. I've had this comment from a lot of women. When are you going to come out with the women's version? I'm not sure what I'd call it. Belly busting for babes, perhaps. Anyway, yes, the principles are the same, and you might appreciate the the simple advice as well. But it's all about being careful about what you eat, focusing on quality food, trying not to overeat, and being active. So, and a lot of the tips about shopping and the recipes, for sure, you can get into those. They would be very appropriate. But the book can be used by women as well.
All right, just because.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
No worries.
Martin says, it's an urban myth that men don't know how to cook. We're not saying that.
We're not saying that, Martin.
No.
We're not saying that, Martin. I cook every night for my family, as many of my friends. Most chefs are men.
Well done.
Well done.
But there are some men that don't know what a capsicum is. Let's just get it out there.
Yeah.
And it's not for the guys who are, master chefs. It's for the ones that don't know what a capsicum is.
And one issue I've come across even in my own life is that if you are interested in food and you're a good cook, sometimes it's hard to let the blokes muscle into your turf. And we have to kind of be okay with relinquishing some of that power and domination over the kitchen and give blokes a chance.
Look, fantastic discussion. And Nicole Senior is with me. Talking about belly busting for blokes, 5 steps to bust the bulge. And she has with her Marty Dennison lost 30 kilograms.
kilos.
What's that, 5 stone on the old, is it?
A little bit less than that. But it's 60.
It's heaps.
It's 60 tubs of margarine. It's a lot of fat.
Marty, just before you go, let me play this.
He's taking off.
He's punching the air as we speak.
And I guess the good thing is that it doesn't have to be a lot of weight. The obesity conference last week, 5% of your body weight can make an enormous difference.
Yeah, because Bob's madly texting saying, been to a dietitian, I'm eating all the right things, avoiding the bad things, don't drink alcohol, can't lose weight.
You're ahead, but we need to chat about portions and energy density. Are you waking up hungry, Bob? I'm worried about you.
Bob? dietitian.
Yeah, give me a buzz. You know.
Amen to that.
Thanks very much, Nicole. And Marty, good on you. Great to talk to you. Thanks for having
Thank you.
Great
Thank
to have you
you.
on the show.
Pleasure.
Caroline, you can go horse riding now.
Yeah, okay. I'll go and get my
Galloping off.
yogurt.
Hunting.
Hunting.
Pink.
Yes.
You're on 666. And we'll head to news headlines, and then after news headlines, we got the offer for you, a VIP pass to Voices in the Forest, and I'll play you my interview with Anne-Sophie Von Otter. You're on 666. It's 29 to midday.